Now let's bring you this story. South Africa is globally recognized for its rich history of sheep and wool farming. And now the outbreak of foot and mouth disease is crippling the industry. China has imposed a ban on the import of cloven-hoofed animals and their products from the country. To unpack the impact of the outbreak in the wool industry, I'm joined now by the Cape Wool South Africa General Manager, Deon Saayman from Gqeberha. Deon, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. I understand, of course, that Cape Wool SA is the official industry representative organization of the country's wool industry. Can you tell us how this ban has affected the industry, the ban by China?
Well, firstly, South Africa produces around 45 million kilograms of wool annually, and that's at a value of around 6 billion rand. Now, all of the wool is basically exported in the greasy form, and 80% of that goes to China. So obviously China is a very important and critical partner for the South African wool industry. When this ban was announced, just at that time, the wool on the water amounted to about 300 million rand. So that's wool that's already been shipped and paid for by the Chinese clients that are now in the process of having to be cleared and negotiated with the Chinese customs. On this side of the water, wool that's been sold on auction, paid for by the buyers, and now cannot be shipped and obviously paid for, we're talking about 600 to 700 million rand in value of wool sitting in South Africa. And what this means is that wool auctions cannot just continue, because it is impossible for the buyers to continue buying wool if they cannot export the wool to the trading partners.
Yeah, I mean, the outbreak of the foot and mouth is in KwaZulu-Natal, Northwest and Limpopo. But I understand it's not the first time that China has banned South African products. Is there any strategy that your industry can embark on to avoid the situation you find yourselves in today?
Yes, well, I think that's the surprise element and frustrating part for us as South African wool industry. You're quite rightly saying we've experienced this before. In 2019, foot and mouth disease broke out outside the control zone in South Africa, and China banned all the import of cloven-hoofed animals and their byproducts, which obviously includes wool, from South Africa. That ban nearly lasted 8 months, and it nearly crippled the industry. What we did do at that point in time was to make sure, should there ever be another outbreak of foot and mouth disease, that we can continue exporting wool under the OIE regulations, and that's specifically under the inactivation clause for foot and mouth disease. So we went through that whole exercise, and at great cost to the industry and the role players and the brokers in the industry. We installed, and the brokers installed, the necessary temperature loggers in each store. Each export facility was registered, inspected, and those registrations were given through to China. We log those temperatures every day in our servers, and the State Veterinary Department have access to those servers to actually ensure that each lot that is exported complies with those conditions of inactivation. So in our view, there is no reason why wool or processed wool and moe should be included in this ban. And that's really what is very frustrating for us as a wool industry.
I can hear that frustration, but I mean, we do have those 3 provinces where foot and mouth has now been detected in the country. I'll be speaking to the Department of Agriculture later on this afternoon about them, what they are doing in area of containing this. Your organization, I mean, are you involved at all in monitoring in other provinces that are not yet affected?
Well, we have to actually, when there is an outbreak, and that is registered with the OIE, we have the responsibility to actually log that in our database and give that information back to the certifying veterinarian at the point of export in Port Elizabeth. But, you know, it doesn't really matter where that outbreak is for us as a wool industry, as long as we can continue the export in terms of the inactivation clause, and I think that's the important thing for us.
I mean, the cost of the ban by China, you've explained it in terms of numbers. It's a big number. How long do you think or hope it will take for China to lift its ban?
Well, we hope it will be very short-lived, but unfortunately we can't put a time frame on it. But we hope it's not going to be nearly the time frame we went through in 2019. Like I said, all our protocols are in place. And, you know, the industry, is, in terms of number of individual farmers, are big. We're talking 8,000 commercial farmers, and we're talking just more than 40,000 communal farmers. And this has a direct impact on the farmers. If there are no auctions, obviously there's no value that goes back to the individual farmers.
Yeah, it's a very big industry, important one as well. We'll find out later on, Deon, what government is thinking and how to help in this situation. And hopefully China will lift its ban soon. I mean, it's a sizable industry. That's Cape Wool's South Africa General Manager Deon Saayman joining us from Gqeberha.